Life gets to be easy, okay? But you cannot make it easy. This is not something that you can force. Life being easy is not a matter of what you have. It's not even a matter of what your life looks like. It's just a matter of who you are. It's a matter of who you're willing to become to make sure that it is easy, right? And the way that you make life easy is that you just decide that it will be, and then you adopt the mindset to make it so. Hello and welcome back. My name is Juditha. This is a space where we talk about all things mindset. I make these videos to help you as well as to help myself. So make sure that you subscribe before you go any further. So today I want to talk about how can you make your life easier, right? And I know it's kind of contradictory because like I said in the beginning, you can't necessarily make your life easy because implies force. It implies that you have to do something with force. You have to do something that is going to be hard. Like that's what when I think about making it easy, that's kind of what I think about. So it's not so much about making your life easy as much as it's about you becoming the type of person who knows how to make decisions, choices, who knows how to have thoughts and beliefs that simply align with the idea that life gets to be easy. Now, when I say this, I know it sounds almost like a choice, right? Like an option, like, oh, it gets to be easy. And that's because I want you to see it as an option. I want you to see it as a choice that you can make at any time. And the reason that I know that life gets to be easy, and the reason that I make it sound like it's almost like a privilege, right? A privilege that we were all born with, but it's not something that we all know to choose. And that's because there is someone who is living the life that you have. There is someone who is living the life that you have. There is someone who is in a similar situation as you, and they are not as stressed out about it as you are. They are not as worried as you are. And this actually reminds me, I was just speaking with one of my clients, and she was talking to me about her dad who went on a trip to the Philippines because they're Filipino. And she was telling me how her dad was explaining to her there's like two types of people in the Philippines. There are the people who hustle, 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 work, work, work. Like there's those types of people. And then there are people who choose to live in more like impoverished circumstances. There are people who are okay with having less. There are people who, by our standard and by, our perspective, it probably looks like they're living in poverty, but some of them choose that life because it's just easy. It's easy for them. That's what's easier for them. That is their path of least resistance. So that is what I mean when I say life gets to be easy. Okay. And another example is there is probably someone out there who you look at them, right? Maybe someone on social media, maybe even me, right? That you look at them and you're like, oh, their life is definitely easy. Like things for them is probably very, very easy. And I want you to know that it doesn't matter what it looks like because everyone has something that they're going through. Everyone has something that they're working on. Everyone has something that they have to overcome. Yes, even me. Like there are things that all of us have. So it doesn't even matter what a person has. That's not what makes life easy. It's not what they have. It's not what their life looks like. It's not none of that. What it is who they are, because the same person that you're looking at who seems to have an easy life, they could be battling demons that you have no idea about. And those are the worst types of things. Like the worst type of obstacles are the ones that you cannot see, right? It's the ones that exist in your mind because those are the ones that are hard to get over. At least when it comes to something physical in your environment, like I don't like my car, I don't like my house, I don't like this, I don't like that. Like those hurdles are easier to jump over because they're physical. You can see them, you can make changes around them. But when it comes to you, to who you are, how you think, the trauma that you have, the limiting beliefs, the scarcity mindset, those things are internal. There is nothing that you can do outside of you that will ever change that. And that's why I'm here. That's why I have this channel. Is because I really, 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 really want you to know that your life gets to be easy, but it just depends on who you choose to become. It depends on who you choose to be like today, how you choose to think, how you choose to believe. Those are the things that make your life easy. Something else to keep in mind is that easy is subjective, right? Easy and hard is subjective. What's easy to me might be hard to you. What's hard to you might be easy to me. It just depends. It's another reason that you can feed your brain to prove to yourself that, you know what, life does get to be easy because easy is subjective. Like I get to choose what easy is. Now I want to share with you a few things that I'm doing to make my life easier because I know that if you were to do the same things, then your life will start to feel easier as well. So the first thing is that I only entertain thoughts that serve me. And this is something that I've trained my mind to do over the years. Like it's not something that I just woke up yesterday and I was like, you know what? I want to stop thinking about these thoughts, and I'm just going to stop thinking them. Like any thoughts that I used to have that limited me, anything that made me feel like I couldn't do what I wanted, anything that made me feel like I was behind, I used to believe those thoughts. And the way that I got over them, the way that I stopped believing every thought that I was thinking, is that I got very clear on the life that I wanted. I got very clear on the person that I wanted to be. I just got very, very clear on these things. And then I started to think to myself, okay, well, what thoughts do I need to think to believe that I can do this? What thoughts do I need to think to believe that I can create this life, that I am deserving of this life? And I simply just every day, I only choose to entertain the thoughts that are in alignment with the goals and the dreams that I have. And that took time because, of course, and there are still days where I wake up and I have to battle thoughts that are telling me I'm doing something wrong or this isn't working. Like, of course, there are those thoughts come up. But the real question is, how often are you willing to remind yourself of what you want to believe instead of, or of what you want to think instead? Like, how often are you willing to correct yourself? How often are you willing to keep replacing the negative thoughts with the positive thoughts? Because that is going to determine how successful you become. That is going to determine how easy your life is. It sounds annoying, but listen to me when I tell you, it is so worth it. Like, to me, it doesn't matter how many times I have to remind myself. It doesn't matter how many times I have to ensure myself. It doesn't matter how many times I have to prove to my brain that I am capable. I'm willing to do it because that's what makes my life easy. That's what makes me delusional enough to believe that I'm living the best life possible and it can only get better from here. And that's even without me having everything that I want. That's without me having my dream car. That's without me having my dream house. Like, I am just so content with where I am because I see life through the lens of it gets to be easy. And then I just choose to think and believe and act in a way that makes it easy. That's the first thing. The second thing that I'm doing is I have purposely made my mind a safe place for me to be. And what I mean by that is a lot of us, we judge ourselves. Like, you might have a thought and then you judge yourself for having a thought. And something that I realize is that as a human, there are things that we think that if we were to say out loud, we would be ashamed of. And I can't think of one right here, not to say that I would even share it, but I just know, like, from personal experience, there has been things that I've thought, like, even in, like, for example, moments of me comparing myself to somebody else. Like, I might say something in my mind about them when really it's just me being jealous that maybe they're 2 steps ahead of where I wish I was. And so instead of judging myself for judging them, I make it a safe space. I specifically, like, I tell myself in my head, I'm like, you know what? This is a safe space. You can say exactly how you feel. Like, you don't have to feel weird about it. You don't have to feel ashamed. You don't have to feel embarrassed. Like I am okay with admitting things to myself that I literally will never admit to anyone. And that's a problem that a lot of us have, is that we aren't even comfortable admitting things to ourselves. Like, we're not even comfortable admitting to ourselves that, you know what, maybe I'm judging them because I'm actually jealous. Like, or maybe I reacted this way because I'm actually upset about this thing that happened last week. Like, you have to get comfortable with admitting things to yourself, because you can lie to everybody else all you want, but you can never lie to yourself. And when you do, you're creating a false persona. You're creating an unsafe place in your mind, so that when things do come up and you want to be vulnerable with yourself and you want to maybe confess some things to yourself, you won't do that willingly because you'll be judging yourself. But what I do is whenever I have a thought to myself, and it's a thought that I rather not think, it's a thought that makes me feel uncomfortable, I tell myself, listen, this is a safe space. Like, you can say it. It's fine. I'm not going to judge you. No one here is going to judge you. You can say the worst thing possible and no one here is going to judge you. Yes, I absolutely talk to myself as if I'm talking to someone else. Like, I do this all the time. And I find it helpful. I find it helpful to act as if there are multiple me's within myself. That helps me because I'm able to separate the part of me that doubts from the part of me that believes, the part of me that fears from the part of me that is courageous, the part of me that isn't confident with the part of me that is very confident. I'm able to separate these parts of myself because I talk to myself as if I'm another person, right? I talk to myself through the lens of, it's okay. Like, it's okay to feel the way you feel, but it's not the absolute truth. It's not all of who you are. And this is something that I've built up in my mind. Like, this is an atmosphere that I've built up in my mindset, because this is what it takes for me to have an easy life. Like, I have to make these choices. Sorry, not have to. I get to make these choices. I get to have these thoughts. I get to think these things that make me believe that anything is possible for me. And this is one of the ways that I do it. I treat myself like I would somebody that I love, because I do love myself. But that is a part that I feel like a lot of us forget to do. We forget that, we have to treat ourselves as we would anybody that we love. We have to talk to ourselves the same way that you would want to talk to someone that you love. Make your mind a safe place for you to be. Make it a place where you can confess your deepest, darkest sins. Make it a place where you can confess the most embarrassing things. Make it a place where you can admit that you were wrong, even if you don't say it out loud. Like, just make it a place where there is no judgment. Okay, that's another thing that I've done to make life easier for me. These last two things, these are things that I have trained my mind to do that you absolutely need to do. Like, in the beginning of my spiritual journey, in the beginning of my entrepreneurial journey, these were things that I had to train my mind to do. The first one is, I've trained my mind to focus on solutions more than I'm focusing on problems. This is literally how you become someone who always knows how. This is how you become someone who doesn't get stuck in overthinking as much. This is how you become someone who can pretty much figure anything out. You train yourself to focus on solutions, because the way how your brain is working, it is set up to give you feedback about what you already are giving your attention to. So if you are giving your attention to your stress, your struggles, your worries, your brain is set up to continue to feed you proof that these things exist. Like, this is what it does. This is why when you say, I like this car, you start seeing the car everywhere. It's because you put it in your brain. That's the information that you're feeding your brain. That is what you're giving your attention to. So then your brain is saying, oh, let me give her proof that this car exists. Let me continue to give her proof that this car is everywhere. And it's the same thing when it comes to your stress. It's the same thing when it comes to your happiness and your gratitude. Whatever you give your attention to, it's the filter in which you're going to see the world. It's a filter in which your brain is going to use when it's bringing in information. It's only going to bring to your attention the things that are relevant to you. But you are the one telling your brain what is relevant to you. So if you become someone who is always focused on solutions, if you become someone who you tell yourself, I can figure this out, I can figure anything out. And that's where it started for me. I simply just started telling myself, I can figure this out. I know I can. I don't have the answer right now, but eventually I will. I know it. And the reason why I was probably able to be so confident when I said that is because I also have a deep belief that I'm not doing this alone. I have a deep belief that I have access to infinite intelligence, that we all do. And that infinite intelligence is God, of course. And we all have access to it. It's within us. It's not something that you have to go outside to look for. So don't underestimate the power of simply telling yourself, I can figure this out. Or if that feels too hard of a reach for you to believe, then you can tell yourself, I will eventually figure this out. Like, there is a way. I can eventually come up with a solution to this. I don't know it now, but eventually I will. And I can't even begin to express to you how powerful that is. Like, sometimes it's the most simple things that is going to change our life. It's the most simple things that is going to make your life easy. That one belief, that one thought, that one affirmation that I say to myself has for sure made me a better entrepreneur. It has for sure made me someone who isn't as afraid to try new things, isn't as afraid to go out there and just figure things out. So I want you to borrow it. I want you to tell yourself from this point forward, if there's anything that you feel you can't figure out, I don't care if it's in business, if it's personal, if it's small, if it's big, like, it does not matter. Tell yourself, I can figure this out. I don't have the answer now, but eventually I will. And if you continue to feed yourself that information, those thoughts, those beliefs, your brain will start to find solutions. Your brain will be set up in a way where it's like, you know what? We're going to filter anything that is a solution. We're going to filter anything that is going to help her move forward. And I say this on my channel all the time, but you have to feed your brain the information it needs to give you the answers you need. And that's one of the ways. You start by telling it, I can figure this out. There is nothing that I cannot figure out. If I don't have the answer now, eventually I will. So the second thing that I train my mind to do that you absolutely should not skip over is to focus on what you want not what you lack. When you focus on those things, then life never seems to be enough. You never seem to have enough. You never seem to be in a perfect place at the perfect time. You never seem to have enough support. And that's because the lens that you're seeing the world through is that I don't have enough, is that I lack a lot. And another thing that does is when you always perceive lack, you become a magnet to lack. You become you become magnetic to things that are going to prove to you that you don't have enough and that you never will. And that's why gratitude, like in the spiritual world, is promoted so much, is because when you start to focus on the little things to be grateful for, you are training your brain to see anything that you can be grateful for. You are putting on the filter of bring me things that prove to me that I have reasons to be grateful. And then life starts to feel easier, because remember, life gets to be easy, but the way that it gets to be easy is by you choosing who you're going to be. So if you choose to become someone who is always grateful, and I mean for the tiniest things, because you might be in a reality right now where you're like, I just don't have a lot to be grateful for. I lack so much. Every day you wake up and the first thing that comes to your mind is what I don't have. The reason why tomorrow is going to be the same and you're going to wake up and still not have enough is because your mindset is focused on what you don't have. But I want you to try it. When you go to bed tonight, set an intention that you are going to start thinking more about what you already have and what you have to be grateful for. If you are falling asleep in a warm bed, be grateful for that. If you are falling asleep and you're able to have a cell phone, be grateful for that. If you have Wi-Fi, if you have internet, be grateful for that. If you have a family member in the same home that you love, be grateful for that. If you have one person who believes in you, be grateful for that. If you have a car, be grateful for that. If you have the ability to use your legs to walk, to take a bus, be grateful for that. Okay, it's start very, very small. And again, this is one of those things that don't seem like it's going to change your life a lot, but I promise you, and I'm not just trying to repeat something that you've always heard, but if you can just train your brain to be grateful for the smallest things, I promise you the universe will move mountains to make sure that you have all that you need to be grateful for, because that's how energy works in this universe. That's how life works. That's how your mindset works. That's how God works. So start today. Start to train your mind little by little to focus on what you have. And if you've been in a state where you have a scarcity mindset, it's going to be hard to get out of that. Like it's not going to happen in one day. So I'm going to ask, and I asked this question earlier in this video, but how much are you willing, like how much time are you willing to give to reminding yourself that you do have things to be grateful for? How much time are you willing to give to remind yourself that you have enough just where you are, right? Exactly as life as it is right now, you can make it enough. You get to do that. You get to make life easy. It's just how willing are you to consistently remind yourself? How willing are you to consistently step out of your comfort zone? How willing are you to consistently step out of the identity that I don't have enough? Because if you're willing to do it an infinite amount of times, I promise you by the end of this year, you will be a completely different person. And I know this to be true because I've worked with clients for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. And at the end of those months, they're already wondering, why does life just feel so much easier? Things just feel so good. Like word for word, one of my clients told me, like, I don't even know what I'm excited for, but I'm excited for the future. Like I just feel good about it. And I told her, I was like, isn't that crazy? If you look around at your life, nothing has changed physically since we've been working together, but you feel as if it has. And that's because you now have a whole new lens. It's as if you took off the glasses that you used to see the world through, the glasses that were tinting the good things that were happening to you. You took off those negative glasses and you put on the positive ones. So now you get to see how good life is. You get to see how right where you are, you already have so much, and it is more than enough to make it to the next stage. Okay. So if nothing else, I want you to remember that life gets to be easy and you don't have to force it to be easy. You get to make it easy by choosing to become the type of person who thinks in a way that makes it easy, who believes in a way that makes it easy. Okay. It all starts with who you are, not what you have, not what you're doing. It's a mindset thing. Okay. So if life feels hard right now, stop trying to fix it by doing things outside of you. And I want you to start looking inside of you and ask yourself, who do I need to become in order for this life right here, right now that I have? Who do I need to become for it to feel easy? Because it's a choice, it's a privilege, and I was born with it. And even though all my life I have not been making this choice, It starts today. Like today, I'm making the choice that it gets to be easy. And from this day forward, everything that I do is going to be in alignment with that. All right, well, that is it for today. I hope this was helpful. I hope you bloom today. Make sure that you subscribe, make sure you like, and definitely leave a comment and let me know if any of this resonated with you. And I will see you guys on the next one.